Alright, folks, take the comments all down, but we're ready to start. You can send me if you need to, and you can have a live discussion. We're gonna go ahead and get started. It is now 7:01. And I call this meeting to order. Welcome back, everyone. We do have one remote participant. Okay, Commissioner Fraser, responsibility of the county has asked to participate remotely in this meeting. Commissioner Fraser, state the location and specific reason for your absence or request.
Mr. Chairman, she has not logged on yet. We will.
Okay, we'll call that practice. Practice, Brian, so we're good. We can go through the whole thing, y'all want to play it out. Okay. Well, we're gonna do some welcomes now, though. So we have PRTC Chief Deputy Director and PRTC Alternate Alan Fox. Thank you, all right. Welcome, sir. And we have Princeton County Board of County Supervisor Woodbridge District, Dean LaCroix. All right, and where is she? BRE CEO Katie Cho. Yes, she is. We'll just all around the clock. There he is. That's it in the front. Sir, we're gonna give you the floor to give a safety monthly safety message. So
good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, once again for you share the safety message for everyone. I have few safety message for the man that I would like to share with you guys. First one is to practice safe driving. You know, many people on the road, you have to watch out for pedestrians and then they are led. Then follow the driving rules and regulations to avoid any accident. The second one I would like to talk about is be aware of the weather, severe weather conditions, you know, unpredictable weather conditions, and also thunderstorms. Please let out immediately plan all those weather. The third one I like to talk about is that let's use the right PPE when we are working indoors and follow the safety regulation for that. Fourth one is make sure you test all your safety device that can save life. Your fire extinguishers, those the alarm, all those that place, make sure you check all of them. And that one can also save life. The last one I'd like to talk about is when you're working outdoor, please make sure you put on the right gears and then follow the safety precaution for that to save life. Safety is our priority. So if you see something, say something. Thank you very much.
thank you, Thomas, for that. Thank you. All right, let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you all. Please, Brad, you like to call the roll, please?
Victor Angry.
Here.
Andre Bailey, Kenny Bodie, Tom Gordy, George Stewart, DeShondra Jefferson, Jeannie LaCroix. Here. Karen Mills. Here. Idris O'Connor, Kimberly Short, Yesley Vega, Keisha Evans. Here. Dr. Young. Present. Dante Diggs, Maya Guy, Ralph Smith, Sonia Vespas Luna. Daryl Moore, Alana Mensing, Jen Holm. Here. Will McIntosh, Dr. Frazier, Lori Hayes, Jacob Lane, Maria Zimmerman, Alan Fye.
Here.
Delegate Henson, Delegate Thomas.
Here.
Senator McPike. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
And we have Commissioner Bowden.
And we'll note that Mr. Bodie is here.
All right. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the agenda? So moved. We have a motion, Commissioner Bodie. Where's that second from? I'll jump on. Okay, Commissioner Thomas, you got the second. Any no changes, any, I don't hear any of that, all in favor? Any opposed? Hey. Any opposed? No opposed, any abstentions? No abstentions, all right, the ayes have it. Can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes? Second. We have a motion, Commissioner Evans, second, Commissioner Bodie. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Alright, any opposed? Any abstentions? Same. Okay, we have one abstention. Okay, and now let's get on to BRE. So, ma'am, Katie Cho, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I am glad to be here in person. This is my first meeting here in person. So I appreciate the switching on and off that the deputy CEO and I are doing each month. We're doing that for two reasons. One, we want to be able to stay for the whole meeting and actually hear the whole discussion. That's very important. And two, it is also a safety measure. Speaking of driving safely, we no longer have to race ourselves to Arlington. So thank you. We have provided the CEO report, the VRE CEO report. And that is provided in your meeting materials. I do want to give a little additional context on time performance and providers. VRE's on-time performance goal is a composite 90%. For the Long Bridge construction, we have been close to this 90%, although never at or over what we provide both lines. However, post Long Bridge construction start, we had maintained that level, even that almost 90% level has been a challenge. With this construction window of not being able to run trains in the middle of the day, we have a 5-minute contingency in our schedule, which means that any delay over 5 minutes, no matter what that cause is, causes cascading delays for everyone, not just for us, but also for all of our freight partners as well as the engineer. So any delay on any of our trains, there are hours causes these cascading delays. So when all goes well, we can achieve that pre-construction performance of nearly 90% of it. The problem is when something goes wrong, we have a very significant impact on the system and don't really have the resilience to be able to make those additional delays. So I think it's important to look at what the aggregated on-time performance statistics mask, just to kind of call out how complicated this analysis can be. February, we had an aggregated 88% on-time performance, which is basically free Long Bridge construction performance. All of the weeks, if you look at each of the 4 individual weeks, they were all in the mid to upper 80s. We had very good performance in February. In March, we had an aggregated on-time performance of 77%, but that performance was dominated by very poor performance in the first 2 weeks, and then very, very good performance in the last 2 weeks of March. So looking at 77% does not equal the entire month, doesn't actually give an accurate depiction of what the individual experience and training. We are trying to mitigate all of these delays, and the most important mitigation efforts are the long-term ones that are underway, all of our infrastructure investments. 60 to 75% of our delays are caused by track congestion and infrastructure problems every month, and that has been consistent months and months and years. The infrastructure and capacity improvements will directly mitigate, if not entirely eliminate, these delays. They're really the best thing we can be doing is investing in our infrastructure. But we are also making more immediate changes to try and change what we can right now while these infrastructure improvements are underway. We're making changes to Seminary Yard and improvements. This will eliminate an additional movement onto the mainline tracks, which is currently causing the delay for all of the movement along those tracks. Smooth transition onto the tracks, and that should be in place, if not next week, after. We have eliminated the Alexandria Shuffle for train 329. For those of you who don't ride trains very often, we do given limited capacity into Union Station. We put all of our passengers on one train, on a few of the trains, and then have half those passengers, the ones going to either Manassas or Fredericksburg, depending on which train is coming out of Union Station, switch at Alexandria onto the other line. So we are, we're all at the Alexandria Shuffle. Always makes me want to dance a little bit. It's not a dance while you are out there. It is a lot of people moving and often a bit frustrated people because they have just sat down and got settled, and that also takes a little bit of time. So we are working on making that more efficient. We've eliminated it with a flight strength. It's pretty busy train. So it takes about 600 people out of the Alexandria Shuffle. And then also we have added a new temporary platform at Alexandria Station that allows us to shorten the distance between the shuttles, so you don't have to actually cross tracks in order to change trains. In terms of our ridership, we did just complete our customer service survey for the year. Did that on April 22nd. what that showed is that 74% of our ridership that day, which is a very typical day, are federal employees. That's even a little higher than what I will talk about, so it's in range where we've been in the past, but it's still a very significant percentage. And you can see that with our ridership trends, when the federal return to office mandate was issued in February of 2025, we saw our ridership grow overnight by 40%. And then 8 months later, when the fork in the road deferred resignation agreement deadline hit and we saw continued federal workforce reductions, we saw a 30% reduction in our ridership again overnight. So we are very much at the mercy of employment policies by the federal government. So we seem to be stabilizing right now at an average daily ridership in the mid 8,000s. That's still a 20 to 25% reduction from our post-pandemic high. So we are definitely down fairly significantly. This does though track a recent survey showed that the DMV lost about 62,500 federal employees in total throughout the region. That puts the federal workforce at about the 2001 levels. And if you look at our ridership is also about at the 2001 level. So we're fully following what the federal workforce numbers showing. What that really proves is that our needs to diversify our ridership base, that goal, it's there, it is necessary. I just want to point out just a couple things from the 2025 State of the Youth Survey that was done that I think are very important for this group to hear. The first one is that free parking incentivizes driving. And so anywhere where we can get policies that limit or discourage providing free parking, we will get more traffic. The second one is that across the board, there seems to be a low awareness of transit benefits. It's another area where you have transit benefits, more people are likely to use transit, which increases the cost savings, incentivize transit. And to that end, PRTC is an affordability solution. I will be hitting on this over and over over the course of the next year, particularly with gas prices where they are. One of the top 5 survey reasons in this that the respondents stated for not driving alone was the cost savings, and it is true, and it is absolutely just continues to get truer with the 2026 numbers, or gas prices. Just to put that in context, using last year's gas prices, riders on the Fredericksburg line saved about $18 a day in fully loaded costs by riding the VRE. That's $5,000 a year. $3,000 a year for hybrid schedule. And Athens riders saved between $500 and $2,000 a year by riding very well. So VRE is an affordability solution, and beyond just saving money on the commute, it also allows more access to affordable housing, economic mobility, and direct. That's what I wanted to highlight today on top of our report.
All right. Well, Ms. So before we get to, we're gonna go ahead and let one commissioner into the room.
Yes.
So Commissioner Frazier, please state your location and reason for remote participation.
I am at my home in Fredericksburg, and I am not there because I'm not feeling well.
You may be muted. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can't hear me? Hello?
Sending invitation.
Okay, we'll run this exercise again. Okay. That makes perfect sense. So, well, thank you for that presentation. Really love to see you. So this is our favorite. Commissioner Bodie has a question, comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ms. Show. Good to see you here in person. Appreciate your time over the last week. It seemed like you left in my office. I see that in your VRE information items, you have the Route 1 pedestrian bridge, which we discussed. Looking at the timeline, I'll just be that guy. It looks like, the 100% submission has already been done. And utility relocation is starting. Is there any way we could reopen the conversation on connecting that bridge to the actual tower that exists at the station?
At Woodbridge.
Yes.
So it is not our project, so that we would absolutely support participating in any of those conversations. It's kind of that's in conjunction with VDOT. And so I do believe that there, and certainly if there's not a shovel in the ground, so there's always not, but it would have to be initiated.
Understood. I bring that up because it's since it's VDOT and you all, I know it's a VDOT project, but I know they interact a lot more with you all than they do with us. I wouldn't say I'm surprised by it, but just to see the timeline and to know that, especially since we have Amy Woodbridge as a supervisor, so I don't think that she's been briefed that, I won't speak for you, Supervisor, or Commissioner with Roy. But to me, it just seemed like it's a missed opportunity for us to have that bridge go across Route 1 and not connect to the existing tower that is already there. You're basically shooting a bunch of utilization of that in the foot from Riverside Station by having that. So I don't know, we can maybe talk to RDOT and VDOT about it. Again, we have not interacted a lot as this body, but to me, maybe can we maybe request an action item from this body on that so we can engage RDOT and VDOT?
I think that's really good. Yeah. But I bring it to the commission, we're discussing that, but is that something we can actually push for? I like that. I think I did good. First of all, I didn't know it was connected to that was the original plan for design. So hearing this now is kind of the first. So we should take this up and have a conversation. And if we need to actually address that with PRTC to try to put some weight behind it, I would agree with that. Which was good. Okay. Okay. You good? I don't know if you good. I didn't want to run him out of you. Okay. Got it. Yes.
That's me. Question, this is regarding to Stafford County. Have you seen an increase in commuter ridership for the BRE, and the Omni ride? Since the federal government has opened, has there been a higher ridership and?
So we saw a large spike in ridership when the federal employees returned to work 5 days. And most of those employees are still going into work 5 days a week. And so we are seeing that consistent ridership. What we've been impacted by is the reduction. We have not yet seen an increase in border, but clear direct increase in ridership yet based off of gas prices. So we are watching that, but given the sort of fluctuation with where we're at in terms of reductions in workforce and ridership, I'm not sure whether we'll be able to see whether it's just offsetting people leaving because they are no longer working or whether actually. So the gas pricing we don't have.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna just pause one more time and go for it once more. Commissioner Frank, could you state your location and reason for remote participation? Well, there's you.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can see your lips. We're gonna read. I feel like.
I am at home.
No, we still can't hear you. Can you hear me? Thumbs up? Okay, so you can hear me, okay. Yeah, so we're not hearing you. I don't know if that's on your end or our end.
We'll continue to work on it.
Yeah,
Go with me.
okay. All right, so we'll get you in, all right? That's simple. Well, we do have one action item. So I do have an action item to ratify a grant application for the LaFont Station and Fourth Track project to the Department of Rail and Public Transportation, I-66 outside the Beltway funding program. So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, Commissioner Bodie, we have a second, Commissioner Holmes. This is how I do this.
Madam Vice Chair.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, we have one abstention, the ayes have it. So, ma'am, I think we can now safely any more questions, comments around the floor? Okay, we can now safely out of the seat. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
We have one.
I would have asked it during our next meeting, but since Supervisor Evans asked the question, you mentioned that we will be losing individuals. And we are trying to increase the ridership. increasing the ridership on weekend, and we are planning on having another track, right, going south. And so with that, the increase in ridership and the weekend, the funding is different because the funding from the federal government will go down. So that funding that we need for that ridership is coming from taxpayers, right?
So the funding to run additional trains over the weekends is not currently in the budget, so it's not in our financial needs, either as a revenue or as an expense. So that's an area that we're looking at building out a proposal. We'll be able to come forward with both the schedule proposal and with the financial projections to support. We are looking to increase our ridership. I do believe that right now the federal workforce is stabilized, so we don't seem to be seeing major shifts now. I think we're at a level we're doing that for a while, as much as we can project that. So now we need to look to build our ridership based off of either federal workers who are not riding the train, or if we have additional employees or records. So that's really where our focus is building our ridership based off of additional workforce, different areas of the workforce, as well as recreation.
Thank you.
And thank you. All right, we're on the public comment time. Do we have any?
Mr. Chairman, yes, one comment was submitted, and I apologize, I did not print it out, did I?
Yes, you did.
It's very thick.
So you still get a muscle memory?
Yeah, I did print it out. It has been placed at everyone's seats.
Brandon Straker.
Yeah. Okay, so you all have that, we would address those, Dr. Snyder addresses those, comments in the coming email, so he has, responded to Mr. Brandon on this. And I met with him, he came, and we talked about it a little bit this month. Okay, and this back in Real Street, we get the Department of Rail and Public Transportation today from our very own Commissioner Bach, sir.
And thank you, Mr. Chair, and welcome, or thank you for the warm welcome. It's my first time here, so to be here participating. I'll be swapping back and forth with Director Zimmerman. She's up at Northern Virginia MVTC Commission tonight, so we're doing a little bit back and forth to handling this show, making sure we can come and have face and talk to folks about all the things going on. So thank you for the welcome. We're looking forward to continuing to work with PRTC. So I have a couple things I want to go through. We are in the middle right now. Our draft is out, 6-year improvement plan for the entire Commonwealth. There's transit element of it. So as you may or may not know, there are multiple public hearings going on in the entire Commonwealth. There was one with Fredericksburg last week, but the one that's probably most important for folks here is actually in 2 weeks up in Alexandria on May 19th at 5 p.m. So the public comment is there. That's the entire SIP, but in order to focus on the transit side of things, the PRTC is going to do their own online virtual SIP hearing on May 27th at 5:30. If you have any comments or thoughts on all of our investments we're proposing for transit over the next year, go to our website for information about how to log in and register to participate. A couple of details about transit for PRTC. So right now in the draft SIP, we're looking at about $27.2 million is proposed for PRTC. About 10 million of that is in the merit operating funding, so helping buses run on a day-to-day basis. There's equipment in there for operations for 2 additional commuter routes on the I-66 corridor using outside of W toll funding. Also some capital funds in there to purchase buses and improve bus stops. Also, there is a TRIP, a Transit Ridership Incentive Program. Allocation in there for some ongoing cameras and safety, but for some buses. So opportunities out there to talk about that. Some of the other things we have going on at DRPT, one is tied into that all important operating funding that we have paid every year. We have a group called the Transit Service Delivery Advisory Committee. Folks that are across the Commonwealth are involved in that, is looking at what are the best policies and priorities for how we allocate that money. It is a finite, so we have to figure out what's the best way to meet goals of DRP's committee to deal with the administration, make sure that we're allocating that money. So we have a really good group of folks from across the state that are looking at that. I know folks from PRTC are very active participants with some of the representatives from State of Virginia Transit Association, so heavily engaged, we talk to folks all the time. So we look forward to that continued engagement. Our next meeting is actually next week on Tuesday the 12th, so more conversations about that. We're on a really tight runway. The CTB gave us a little bit extra time this year when the new administration came in. So we're shooting for having those new calls, recommendations for that operating program. Over approvals in September. One other important thing we have going on right now is we're in the process of updating our statewide rail plan. That's important because of our colleagues at PRE, VPRA, and our freight railroads. What is our strategy for the next 10 and 20-year time horizon for rail, passenger and freight for the Commonwealth? So that work is ongoing for our office as well. There's a virtual public meeting on that coming up on June 1st. Again, the information is cited for folks who want to participate. And last fall, there are multiple slides we have in the meeting materials that went out with some other important information, other things that are happening in the RPT. So that's my report, Mr. Chair. I'm happy to answer your questions.
Thank you. Do you have any questions, comments? Hearing none, appreciate it. Thank you, Bill. Move on, consent agenda. So we have part 2 items on consent. Acceptance of the Potomac and Rappahannock Transportation Commission monthly jurisdictional financial report for the periods ended December 31st, 2025 and January 31st, 2026, and authorize the executive director to execute the federal payment administration's federal fiscal year 2026 annual certifications and assurances and FTA grants to Virginia Railway Express, Fredericksburg Regional Transit, George Washington Regional Commission, and Potomac and Rappahannock Transportation. Thank you. So move for 9-3. We have a motion, Commissioner Bowie, second, Commissioner Evans. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Now on to our very own Dr. Schneider. The floor is yours, sir.
Yes, thanks very much. It's been a couple of months, so our report will be a little bit longer than usual, but we'll start off with good stuff. Mr. Dave Radomski, Ms. Joanne Salazar. Please rise. Okay. Oh, Dave's working on our IT technical. There we go. Fixing your problem. You have to sing the on me ride. Wheels on the bus. Dave is our director of IT. Please go direct IT. Just joined us last month, and then also Joanne Salazar joining us. She right there. She will be working in the administration department. Kind of a unique dual role in backing up Christine as the clerk of the board and doing a lot of the behind the scenes tasks to keep the machine running, but also working in facilities. So very divergent but overlapping important roles in the organization. We welcome them.
Yeah, welcome.
We are going to recognize the mentoring program, but first, we need to celebrate a major milestone for one of our employees. Where were you on May 23rd, 2011? We're probably celebrating World Turtle Day. Which we found out very recently was on the 3rd. But the team here was celebrating the arrival and hire of Miss Cynthia Porter Johnson. 15 years. Cynthia, please join us at the front of the room with our illustrious chair to receive your. I have the pin, so don't take it.
It's a long story behind that pen.
Well deserved, well earned, well, I'm honored to celebrate this with you.
This way, okay, all right. Give me one.
All right, we're gonna give Cynthia enough time to get to her seat before she starts talking. So. In addition to celebrating Cynthia's accomplishments of the last 15 years of service, one of the things she has been an instrumental part of is our mentoring program. That is something I established when I arrived. It's something that helps build culture. When new employees join the organization, how do things work? What's the history? How do we coordinate? How do we collaborate? And it's not just new employees, it's also employees who have been here a while, but maybe take on a new role or responsibility. You jump to a different department, you gain a new experience. Sometimes your mentor, one of my favorite examples was Becky, who came in as our director of human resources, was mentored by Cynthia. So even on the org chart, you will have people in different departments and different levels of the org chart to help do that. What that does is that it helps bring employees together, it helps break down barriers, it helps collaboration and understanding, makes it a lot easier to ask a weird question. And so it's one of the things we're very proud of. Holly Morello was the first person to work with me on it, but after my first time, I'm like, you guys can do better than I can. And Holly has since retired. Cynthia remains that stalwart and drafted Mr. Ben Matters. Ben is back, please stand. Here, yield the floor to Ms. Porter Johnson to tell us all about our mentoring class.
Me, Sharon Avery. As I have shared many times before, it continues to be a tremendous honor for me to serve as co-coach of the Omni Academy. Working along with my new co-coach Ben, as also kindly shared, as well as with our fellow OmniRide employees and partners at Keolis, it has been an incredibly rewarding experience. We remain grateful to Bob for his vision in launching the program, and also to every OmniRide, BRE, as well as Keolis employee who has participated over the years. Because naturally, without them, and their commitment and engagement, this program would not. So the OmniRide mentoring program continues to grow, as well as exceed expectations with each cohort. And M8, this year's class, is no exception. Over the course of the M8 class, participants have engaged in structured mentoring sessions focused on leadership, navigating networking, and communication. The cohort also benefited from a spotlight speaker session with Kate Mattice, who is the executive director of the Northern Virginia Transportation Commission, who shared her personal journey as well as valuable insights on regional collaboration, as well as leadership in transit. Additionally, the participants took part in a hands-on learning experience, including a field trip to Dash Bus, where they were able to lead transit operations in action, deepening their understanding of service delivery. So this year's cohort has also read and discussed the book, Begin With Me by Kyle McDowell. Through these discussions, they explored key principles such as we lead by example, we own our mistakes, we do the right thing always, and finally, we pick each other up. All of these things reinforces a shared commitment to accountability, integrity, as well as teamwork within our agencies and also within the communities that we serve. Tonight, we're especially excited to recognize and celebrate our M8 mentees as they graduate from the program. They have all demonstrated tremendous dedication, professionalism, and growth throughout the mentoring experience. They have remained highly engaged, supported by the community, both personal and professional development. So in addition to them growing individually, one of the things that I've instituted as far as this program is the Mentee Team Project. And so that project that they did this time, it really reflects the spirit of teamwork, leadership, and community service. And you'll hear more about that later. We are extremely proud of all the mentees as well as our mentors and all of the things that they've been able to do during this session. And so we look forward to seeing their continued success with the organization as well as beyond. So at this time, I would like to introduce my co-coach, Ben Matters. It's truly been a pleasure working with Ben. Again, this is his first time helping out. But his leadership and his insight and dedication to the mentees as well as the mentors have really been invaluable. I've learned a great deal from Ben throughout this experience, and I'm gonna have him come now so he can share more about the mentors who participated in the program. And so just wanna take this time to thank you, the commission, just for allowing us this time and this opportunity to share about the program. We do appreciate your continued support. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I read. So my name is Ben Mattis. This is my first run through at the co-coach with Cynthia. She's been wonderful at taking me to a very great session to start. So my big initiative for M8 is trying to get all mates. And I think it would have been a great success if we were back home in Glasgow or we weren't. I think we could have went places. So I've been involved with these mentor groups. I've been doing this time. Mentor the mentee, co-coach. And I think this is the first time we've actually had 100% participation. Everyone did all the reduction papers. We didn't have anyone come off the wagon and do the mentoring with the EPA. So that's good. This is in large part because of they put in a lot of effort to be open and available and take that effort that didn't develop a relationship. And I think that can be kind of off at first, especially when we go out of our ways to do together that maybe brush shoulders quite a lot. And so that kind of initial inertia is on the mentee, the mentor part to reach out and say, hey, let's meet every Monday at 8:30 or every Tuesday, right? And so they did a great job. So if you guys are here, you can stand up, give you a big old clap, get your shivers. That means part of it. Yeah.
So, as you just heard, I was a mentor in the program. This is my fourth involvement in the mentoring program. It's in M1 and been bouncing around ever since. It's a wonderful program. I think I didn't think I was gonna say, but just to look at the pictures on the board here, and you see folks who work at PRTC and paired up with Keolis. In previous years, you would have seen Keolis paired up with VRE and vice versa. There's a lot of walls between different organizations, and programs like this really help. Right? It's been a wonderful program. Ben and Cynthia deserve all credit in the world for doing something that is all other duties as assigned. They are both busy people and working on these things together. My first time through this program as a mentee, kind of gained perspective, and you get a lot of help from people making you grow, and it really is a wonderful program. And as a mentor, you kind of appreciate it even more. Seeing people growing themselves, you're able to kind of open doors for people, maybe kind of broaden their horizons a bit. And it's actually even more rewarding as a kind of mentor in the program. It's right. So it's been an absolute honor for me to be part of this program. I think it's definitely the get out of, and I think out of Keolis, PRTC, VRE, NBTC, there's everyone always is invested in it. They read the books, come to the sessions, they do the work, it makes a difference. Everybody's invested in making all of these places better for the people who work there. So it's an honor of mine to be part of it, and I hope it goes on to M80. Oh, and you're already here. Mitchell.
Hi, everyone. Evening, Chair Angry and members of the committee. On behalf of M8, thank you to our Executive Director, Dr. Bob Schneider, for the authorized scoring program, and for giving us the opportunity to connect fellow industry leaders in a meaningful way that supports our personal and professional growth. For me, M8 fostered connections that may not have happened organically. Connections that I believe will make me a stronger, more collaborative colleague. Through the experience, M8 was able to exchange ideas, gain a deeper understanding of each other's roles and responsibilities, think more strategically about our organization, have candid conversations with our mentors. I'm especially thankful and grateful for the conversations I had with my mentor, Stephanie Hargrove of Peerless. Her insight, experience, and willingness to share her journey made a lasting impact on how I think about my career progression as a leader. Each mentor group is tasked with developing and implementing a group project. After thoughtful discussion, M8 partnered with Northern Virginia Community College for an outreach pop-up and bus tour at the Woodbridge campus on March the 26th. The event focused on raising awareness of the routes serving the campus, demonstrating how easy it is to ride our local routes, introducing the transit app, highlighting cost savings, and removing barriers to ridership through a bus network. If I had to describe our group in one word, it would be teamwork. Every member played a key role in making this event a success. From coordinating with colleagues, from coordinating with the college and promoting the event, to securing a bus and operator, to organizing and ordering materials and preparing the day of logistics. During the event, we engaged with over 80 students and faculty members. For many, this was the first time. For many, it was the first time of learning about our fare-free local service. Current riders shared their appreciation and spoke to the value of having a reliable, no-cost transit option to access campus. As a result of this project, we strengthened our partnership with NVCC. We increased awareness of OmniRide's services, and we welcomed new riders. Most importantly, this project created a strong sense of camaraderie for MU. We came together not to highlight individual contributions, but to collectively share the value of OmniRide with our community. And that's something wrong. Thank you very much.
Sorry, before we get to this, I just have to say this. Cynthia, Ben, Bob, I've been your chairman now for 5 years, and I look at this commission, and you all don't know the story, but I'm just in awe of the transformation of what PRTC and OmniRide, what you all have done through this mentorship. And let me just say this here. Every day is not a good day, but you gotta know, and I hope you all do know, that this commission supports you. None of this works without any of you. So what I want my commissioners to do, because we can't take all anything, is stand up and give y'all a there you go. Yeah.
Mr. Jenkins, we'll stand back
And
up.
I said all that without a tear. I didn't tear up. All right.
No. And Maters, come on up.
And Maters. Maters.
Gabby. All right, we'll go in alphabetical order. Gabriela Cerrito.
Are we good?
You're good.
All right.
Excellent. Go for the group pick.
Yes. Yeah, we got to do the group picking.
Right on the line. Etamati.
What's going on here?
Just 10 more, hold on.
Congratulations.
New York Jones.
Alright. Alright.
That's also pretty interesting. This is no because of the.
No, that's not.
Gary Lloyd.
It's been for Louis Simon. Here we go.
But they're.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jim Mitchell.
Nice to meet everyone.
Thank you.
And Mr. Plummer.
Man. Legend. Yes, alright. I know.
No group next year. Oh, out there. Sorry, guys.
You got a break?
Yeah, this one was like taken. Then. All to go to the story. And it's. I'd say it probably. Probably there's the next. Or. Yes. I said. Forget it. It's not my gift. We have to start her from getting them. You want me to start now? This is not. I said. What you said. I thought. It's just to be able to. Yeah. Yes. Okay, well, Verity, Commissioner Frazier, if you can hear me, if you can state your location and reason for remote participation, please.
Good evening, Commission. This is Commissioner Frazier. I am at my home in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I am not feeling well. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can we get her on the conference?
Hello? Hello, Chair Angry?
Yeah, you can hear me. Can't hear us.
Rick Pierce.
Hello?
Sorry.
Hello, Commission.
So, thank you for allowing us to take the time to recognize our employees. As you heard, one of the best sounds you'll ever hear in a work environment is your employees laughing together. And I hope you can appreciate that.
Sure.
Hello, Commissioner Frazier.
Yes, it is.
Hey, we're just gonna put you on a conference call, speakerphone, is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay,
Thank you.
so let's just run through this little formality. Could you state your location and reason for remote participation? It would only.
Commission, I am at home in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I am not feeling well this afternoon.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So I can see the motion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got a bunch of motions, pretty much everybody.
Yeah, that was going around.
Okay, and then we, yeah, we're gonna use all the chapters. Yeah, I'm doing this. So all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Okay, Commissioner Frazier, here with us.
Thank you.
Okay, let's continue.
Yeah, at your seat, if you recall the last meeting, I gave a brief explanation, discussion about the challenges we face operationally related to the Snow Creek event. And so one of the things we had already started down the process of, but the chair formally asked us to do, is identify what some of those issues are, and then to start the process of working with regional partners. In the middle of budget season is the last time any person of director of facilities or fleet management wants to have that conversation. However, we held all of our internal meetings and identified things that we did well, obstacles we encountered, again, things we did well, things we didn't, and we have our list, and the facilities department as well as safety and security is identifying steps for fall of 2026 that we'll take well in advance of the winter season. It was an extremely unique weather event from the actual type of precipitation, but the unique things create the unique problems and the unique challenges and the unique perspectives. So what you have is just that list of things we identified. This is available for you. We encourage you, if you want to share this with your own fleet management services, your jurisdictions, of things that we encountered that maybe they didn't. If your government was closed for a week, you may not have dealt with those issues on day one as we tried to dig 160 buses out of Federal Houston and ice and things like that. So just some perspectives that you're more than welcome to share, and we'll continue to maintain and follow up on this. Sorry, Mr. Chair.
I just want to comment on this because we just took the first step that most organizations, localities haven't taken. Every year, something weird happens in weather, and I will tell you that watching citizens, constituents walk down Dale Boulevard, I'll just use Dale, any road would work, any district, any locality would work. That the bus shelters and the sidewalks were 4 feet of block of wall of ice, and people were still out trying to get to work or to the grocery store, and they were literally walking down major roads. Freaking me out, completely freaking me out, because that is not safe. So this happens all the time, and so we've never taken steps to try to put together an after action review or plan, or at least we've got a document for what we know occurs, so that we can, when this happens, maybe next year, maybe during this year, off season of budget, we can start talking about some factors that we can put in place, to really help us along this next year. And it may not happen next year, but at least we've taken a step. And I think every locality and every directorate should be taking these steps to identify these type of critical hazards. Because this was bad this last year. So thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, yours.
So under service and ridership update, actually, before we get to that, excuse me, as you have saw in email, we had an accident April 24th. That was a head-on collision between buses, a low-speed head-on collision between buses. The accident remains under investigation by various different parties that were involved. This was an OmniRide vehicle operated by Keolis with a Fairfax connector bus operated by Transdev occurring at the Pentagon complex. So we're used to a car and a bus and a highway patrolman or a Prince William County officer. This was an entirely different type of event, and quite frankly, the Pentagon isn't used to dealing with this type of traffic accident. For people that were on board vehicles, very, very unique. We go through that pathway hundreds of times a day. So this is a very, very common path of travel for us. But at approximately 7:20 in the morning on Friday, April 24th, OmniRide bus 3060 was hit head on by a Fairfax connector bus number 7934 at the Pentagon complex, with our operator identifying potential injuries as soon as they called in. Within 15 minutes of contact, Keola senior management was on the way to the scene. We'd already pulled onboard footage and were able to confirm within under 30 minutes that operator was in there correctly. So that was what had occurred. The video was all over social media. I'm sure you can find it in 2 places. But what you will see is an OmniRide bus passing a Metro bus, right lane, and then the Fairfax bus drifts into the other lane. We do not know why. We're continuing to work through that. But within that 15 minutes, that was soon bolstered by local traffic footage at the Pentagon complex, was all over social media. And then we had our first wave of media inquiries as to what occurred. We could not get critical information out of the gate simply because Pentagon officials pretty much locked everything down. They have a rapid response team, so did a wonderful job. We're able to assess everybody and really do a quick medical triage. Some folks maybe didn't even realize there was much of an incident. Those who were on our bus, you saw the video, it made contact and then pushed our bus backwards. The common occurrence of that when you see a lot of vehicle accidents, and that's why people end up partway through like 7-Eleven, is because when they come in a little hot and they freak out, they see something happening, they put their foot down. And if your foot's on the brake, you slow down. If it's not, you speed up, and that's most likely what has occurred. We're still going through different parties to figure that out. There's an accident in reconstruction, there's insurance, adjusters, all of those different things. So we're still gathering that information. There's black boxes on board vehicles, camera data, all of those things we're still working through law enforcement. But that really let us know very early on that we were not at fault. Communications began to flow outside the first responder network. We were able to share information with commissioners by about 8:30 in the morning. Got that first wave of what was occurring. By 9:30 in the morning, Fairfax County Department of Transportation was able to share the condition of their operator or passenger. That was extremely important to us as well. We can deal with broken vehicles. We want to make sure that we're okay with in terms of passengers and operators. But we reached out to them and they were gracious and thankful and did acknowledge that from their own investigation that they were at fault, they were out of their route. But that was just makes life a little bit easier when everyone just agrees on what the circumstances are. We have a great relationship with Fairfax Connector. This was a low speed collision between 2 transit systems, both contracting operations, all that I described, just created an extra level of complexity and nuance. Not that anything went wrong, just different parties holding information differently than we're used to. Pentagon isn't used to this kind of environment. It's more of a security environment, not the flip side of traffic accidents. The important things, everyone was released the same day, all are recovering. The bus will be repaired back in service, which takes a little bit longer just because of, again, the investigation, the insurance adjusters. I really want to thank the local Keola team. They did a fantastic job gathering information quickly, good response, good follow-up, ongoing attention to detail. I'm thankful for the Pentagon Police. They were the first responders on scene. They were able to take care of our passengers, the connectors passengers, and get people dropped off at hospitals in the immediate area. We received very light medical treatment at the Pentagon facility. Others said out of precautionary elements, I'd like to be taken to a hospital. They ended up at Nova Fairfax as well as George Washington Medical Center in the district. So that was a challenge because now our passengers are spread all over Northern Virginia and DC. So good luck trying to get statements and things like that. So again, it just took us longer to do that. As the investigation is still ongoing, a few details that I've shared may change. Not by much, just because we're going off of what was in video footage. We operate a reconstructed timeline, which is just facts of what was shared information. And this boils down to a general outline of an incident, human error, that occurs in one of the most transit heavy patches of asphalt in the United States. If you stand at the Pentagon platform, there probably isn't a time where you don't see a bus passing through that corridor for about 5 hours every morning and 5 hours every evening. So we're talking hundreds, if not thousands of buses passing each other. To have this type of incident is not uncommon in the industry. We're thankful it was low speed, and we're thankful that everyone was it. But with that, if there's any critical questions I can answer from there, I'm happy to do that.
And I will say first that this is an ongoing investigation, if you will. So we're gonna continue to get updates until this thing is closed out. But by all means, at the end of all this, you know, you've got Dr. Snyder's number and you can want to, yes, go ahead.
What is the timeline and process to make OmniRide whole the outlays there's? To be determined, and the reason we say that is it's the insurance adjuster.
They should buy us the glass.
They should.
I got the lawyers.
Let me say, I want.
It's crazy, so. Yeah. Right, this is actually going to be between Transnet and Keolis. Okay. So they're the entities, and so they'll work out that repair for us, we're already identifying the repair cost timelines, all of the damage information, and then Keolis will submit that to Transdev, and we'll get that bus back up as quickly as possible. The biggest challenge is front end collision, that's the area that to do the most inspection, making sure there's no frame related issues. Luckily, the engine's in the back, so we don't have any engine real issues to worry about. But did it impact the driver cockpit, the front entry cabin area, to do that assessment, and then getting those giant fiberglass parts, giant sheets of glass, which can be back ordered with supply chain issues. But that's why we just don't have the unknown. But from a made whole standpoint, that's genuinely not a concern in terms of the issue. Does that also include I presume another replacement bus was put to service that required hours of fuel? Is that also something that gets compensated? Generally not, the costs related to the additional vehicle present in service, but it occurred pretty much at the end of run. So anything that there is a cost associated with, I promise you, Keolis will sharpen those pencils. And we let their friendly competitive partner know that these are expenses that have been incurred. We do not incur those costs, that is directly written into our contract. So that basically is their responsibility, we have the oversight, we have responsibility for it. But in terms of accidents and events, things like that, we are the oversight body, they are the directly impacted party, given my lack of law school.
Ms. Plandyke, is there any rule that says we can't have an internal lawyer?
First of all, go put on my previous insurance hat on, that's what's called subrogation.
You got two.
But it's a great question, because if they are found at fault, again, ongoing investigation, but it sounds like we're going the direction, there definitely should be some recourse there. My question, which is a lot less serious, is, does that mean that Keolis has to now teach Transdev people how to drive? It sounds like that.
Not touching that. A lot of, it's like to think that, but maybe 6 of us in the room would get Keolia, anyone laugh besides me? Okay, so any other questions? From all of our other meetings. Last year, at the end of June, we topped 2 million riders. Well, we did that last week. So we topped 2 million riders for FY 26, which finish up around 2.25 million based on projected numbers. So that's a big heck, yeah. We closed out FY 25 at 2.34 million, so it's an extra 200,000 passengers, almost 10% better. So thrilled to have that. Preliminary average daily commuter ridership was even compared to March. So great numbers compared to March, especially with spring break and all the activities happening, the lingering DHS shutdown. Massive disruptions related to the IMF World Bank meeting, which put DC in gridlock for multiple days. And our new normal really is the fluctuation in the ebb and flow of what occurred in DC. So it's managing that longer term trend of, quite frankly, buses packed to the gills. We're limited in terms of what we can grow in terms of ridership during our peak periods, because every seat's taken and the aisles are full. So for us to maintain month over month is growth. We recently had some public comment tied to the I-66 meter choice program, in which we're hoping to add additional potential service from the Gainesville University lot to Noma up by Union Station, and there were a lot of compliments saying this is great. Almost a third of them were, but the buses are full. So one of the big issues we have on some of our routes is because of the way our funding structure is, they're locally funded. We can add more state funded service, but we can't support already packed buses that are funded by local services. So that just tends to be, in some areas, we've maxed out what we can grow. So we are continuing, however, to push into new markets. Very exciting in that opportunity. Definitely the case. I'm sorry.
Dr. Snyder, you mentioned the full buses, and I know that some of the complaints came from some that where they were standing room only, so those are considered local buses. Has there been any resolution to that, because that is like putting people's lives at risk while driving? Oh, what would be done to solve that?
Yes, we added service last September. Or August, September, we added more trips to address that. That had occurred when the return to work.
Mhm.
And it takes about 12 weeks to ramp up service between, as Ms. Cho described, startup, working the road, all those different things. So we've added service. We don't have any of those issues related to those funds.
Perfect, and usually, and I was a school board member before, what we usually do, the longer rides, they get the air conditioned buses and the newer buses, so. When that bus comes in, I think it should be on that. The bus, yeah. Downward, backward. Bus.
So one thing that we haven't seen, and I'm not surprised, is with the higher gas price, you would say, oh, everyone comes running. Keep in mind, people are already locked into contracts for their parking garages. They're also going to wait out to see, do the gas prices come down? There's all sorts of things that we in the industry have been observing since Hurricane Katrina happened. So since Hurricane Katrina, I was, but at that point, I was a 5-year veteran in the industry. We've seen the ebb and flow, and now what the patterns are, it has to be a long-term sustained significant increase. So we would have to see probably $5 per gallon over an extended period to see people change their habits. In transportation, people change and maintain habits after about 120 days. So right now, people are looking from a disruption standpoint of, this isn't working. I'm spending a fortune to drive in, I'm paying for parking. School's almost out, they're gonna pay attention to, okay, maybe my telework agreement is this, or all of those things are happening right now. We're getting more calls, more inquiries, we're doing marketing to go with it, we're talking about it on LinkedIn. It's part of the conversation people are coming up to us in the community and asking about. So it's more elastic in terms of, or less elastic in terms of the express routes. It's much more responsive in terms of our local routes. And we've seen a 7% ridership increase on our local service since March. So just March to April, 7% increase. So not only are we maintaining our success on our express routes, we're seeing growth. And also, by the way, that is a direct result of what you heard the MA class do. Go to the Northern Virginia Community College program. We're constantly doing outreach. Please follow, if you want to know what we're doing in outreach, just follow Kim Mitchell on LinkedIn. And we love it, by the way, we love it. But ridership for the route, for example, in the commuter route, Corner Road carried, that lot had about 25,000 riders. The 234 lot, almost 20,000. Southern commuter route, 34,000 at Stafford, Fredericksburg, Pennsylvania. Corridor and I-66 is now our consistent leader at 38,000 riders. So massive numbers, and that's just never mind all of our other pockets of service. Mentioned that we have a 7% increase compared to our March ridership. We're getting the increases. Route 1, Dumfries Local in Dale City, combined for over 35,000 riders. The 2 western local routes on the Sudley Ashland Liberia corridors combined for over 7,000 riders. That's fantastic for those routes. All continuous growth, and we continue to promote services and recruit plans. Plans are coming together. It's very exciting for a limited commuter operation on Independence Day. Some people call it the 4th of July. I call it. So Saturday, July 4th, we transport residents to the American 250 events in DC. It's a big deal. And especially right here at the DMV, we're expecting not only a lot of visitors, but a lot of our own residents who work for the federal government or love the area, want to go experience the fireworks. We're looking at operating a route 563 out of the Stonebridge Garage right across the street, and also 612 between the commuter lot. They will operate continuously. Right now, we're planning operations to the Pentagon, but we have to make sure the Pentagon complex will be open to us. If it's not, we'll do fallback to metro stations. But the idea is that it's a great kickoff and way to say thank you to our many passengers. It's a great opportunity for a lot of commuters to experience the Stonebridge Garage for the first time. Yeah. So that continues to get more and more capacity filled. Great opportunity, and people can bring their family and friends. A lot of our passengers ride it every day, but their children and family, friends, neighbors, spouses don't know what that experience is like. They'll get that opportunity. So we're working through that now. Continuous operations prior to, and then we'll have operations back on 1 day straight. So it'll be very exciting. Yes.
What will be the cost?
We are planning actually at doing it at zero cost. The reason why, right now it's planning, is by the time we figure out ticket sales and paying our vendor to update the app to do this and do that, we would probably collect about as much money as it would cost.
Okay.
So here's one of the things we know, a family of four, that would cost $44 each way at our base fare. No family of four is going to pay $88 round trip.
Right.
So this is the type of thing that we would offer a family fare type experience anyway. By the time we're measuring children of age, et cetera, it's easier for us to waive the fare for the day. And we're costing that out. Right now, it's settling in between $24,000 and $28,000 for the total cost, and that is within affordability for what we're experiencing.
So this is a really, really cool topic because it's, 250 years in America. I didn't know, because I know we're gonna run one train is a little bit, I don't know if you're gonna throw that in there as well, because I think that's super what you all are doing with PRE as well.
Yes, our running event, specifically fireworks trains, so we'll be running one train on each of the lines, carrying about 600 people, 800 people per train. Going into the city for the fireworks and then leaving at about 11 o'clock, each of them at 11 o'clock after the fireworks. We also intend to run full service on the 3rd of July, which is the observed holiday, to allow families and other recreations. Similar to what Dr. Bob is saying in terms of getting people to experience the train way for those.
Okay, let me just say, because this is our metro. The PRA and our under system is principal counties. Metro, we're not getting metro. Not that I don't want metro, just it's gonna cost a gazillion dollars by the time we figure out what to do with that. But this is our metro, so it works so well, and I love that we're doing this. Yes, ma'am.
I just had one question. What time are you gonna start the VRE?
We're finalizing the schedule now. I believe that they're scheduled to arrive into the city around box, so I think around 3:30, but the final schedules will be coming out next week.
Thank you.
All right. And a couple of other things to mention. We have a few important items for your awareness. Don't worry, this will come to you in email from Christine. We have the Virginia Transit Association meeting May 19th and 20th in Fredericksburg, just down the street. So Christine will call you to see if you have interest and availability. Please let us know. So actually, a show of hands if you have some interest, right? All right. There. So. And then next week on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have our budget public hearings. May 12th is at 4 o'clock on the community library, May 13th, 4 o'clock in the Manassas community room, and then May 14th, 7 o'clock, we're doing the virtual version. So that we capture our local writers, that's the focus there, and then we have the later one online for our. So those are the key items. As I mentioned, been a long time since we've gathered, so longer report than normal. Turn the floor over to Mr. Russell. He's in for Mr. Wingfield, who is up in Baltimore, excuse me, for a safety conference. So good evening, everybody. So patient.
Okay. Different man monthly. Data on this. Okay, our first slide, you'll see our parent Michael Transit Service performed favorably for the month of March 2026. As you can see, 2026, we're roughly about a little below 80%, as far as both the ride share and passenger share ride for March. Next slide, focus on missed trips. System reliability continues to be strong. March, we had an uptick in missed trips due to a number of reasons. We were consistently had some problems dealing with the traffic. New service being implemented during the month of March, so that contributed to our missed trips for the month of March. I feel payment lower 5, and this April we're hoping to bring that totals down to a more reliable number. Okay, this is our vehicle availability. Availability, stayed below target for the month of March. Roughly here, right around 82%, just a little bit from prior month. But again, still above margin, and we're hoping to continue that even higher for the month.
Also, could you stay there for a moment? I want to go back. I want to point something out to the newer commissioner, real briefly. To back a little bit, or sorry, forward, right here. So if you take a look at the vehicle availability, you're probably wondering what happened September, October, November. That was the federal government shutdown. We were able to, we have a lot of vehicles we put in strategic or flexible positions with the lower ridership. We pulled them in to do extra maintenance work. So technically they weren't available, but it did not affect operations because if you'll go to the mistrip slide and look at October, we didn't have a significant uptick. He didn't know I was gonna do this, so we don't have a significant uptick in missed trips with that decline because, but we reported the data. We're good. We'll get more lessons for the dog. He didn't know I was gonna do that.
Yeah. There we go.
The last slide, here again, again, though, we stayed above target. But strong. People are holding people, definitely have better numbers. Make sure that we're staying above.
Any questions for you?
None?
All right, and then I'll always point out we provide an industry article, so there's a repository of industry articles. We try to focus on something that is germane to the industry, and then there's a specific section of how it affects us and how we can apply lessons learned. We look at things that happen in the DMV, but we also look at what happens in it might be micro transit project in Wichita. What lessons can we learn and how do we bring that together? So that's with that, Mr. Chair, I believe that is my executive director. Again, lengthy, but important, very important.
Thank you, sir. So we do have a presentation, so we have Kimberly Horn, Mr. Lucas Muller and Marco Viola. Viola. Either one. Okay. Sir,
thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the commission. It's a pleasure to be back here with you all. Done the pleasure to work with OmniRide over the past 15 years and can attest to what has been shared today. It's great to see the progress and positive momentum with the organization. My name is Lucas Muller. I'm a senior project manager with Kim Horn. I'm here to talk to you tonight about the transit strategic plan minor update for OmniRide's transit strategic plan. So I will try to keep it brief, and if there's any questions, happy to answer this. But I'll briefly go through just the background on what a transit strategic plan is. What are some of the requirements that are coming from PRTC that it meets? What has changed since the drafting of the last TSP, and a little bit of what's in the current. Again, our ask for you this evening is to vote to approve this final draft of the TSP update that will satisfy the requirements. We are also, which I'll get into, this is again a minor update to the document that has been done. In the next year or so, we'll be starting on the full new transit strategic plan, which will be an opportunity to kind of take a bigger step back and future vision for the system. So if there's any suggestions or things that we consider for that. Transit strategic plan this came from a Virginia legislative mandate, essentially wanting transit agencies to make sure they're taking a step back, thinking about what the blueprint for the system looks like over a 10-year horizon. This is meant to be a fiscally constrained 10-year plan, so not completely pie in the sky, but just realistic potential implementable ideas. That being said, everyone acknowledges that things change, especially over the course of 10 years. So they are meant to be flexible and to create a starting point, build from there, be able to adapt. The last TSP that OmniRide completed was completed in early 2020. So I'm sure there are plenty of things that happened since then that required some updates. So just to name a few of those, besides the obvious COVID pandemic, and some changes to the structures of the service of introducing new service for OmniRide microtransit, going to zero fare service for the local service, new facilities. We talked about the new garages, the western facility maintenance for OmniRide. A lot of things that have evolved since then. So kind of working into this update as well as future ones. As part of, again, this minor update process, really requires kind of to basically take the end of those last 10 years. So there were 3 years left on this TSP, take a look and make sure that things are in line with those last. So it does not change the planning horizon. This is coming from a DRP requirement to update that document. It does require approval from the board mission seawall. Really, again, looking at what has changed, what is currently slated for those next three years, and what are the associated costs of projects associated. So for this update, we really focused in on primarily FY27, which starts this July in FY26. Again, it's very important that this is financially constrained. So there are 5 projects here, relatively some local improvements, and then one commuter route, which I'll talk about. These are updates to, and there's 3 local routes, the 52, 53, and 92. Those are increasing the weekday frequency of those. And so and then the commuter route, the Gainesville to Noma, that Dr. Schneider was mentioning, that is also included, again, pending the official approval of the grant request. That would be supported by the Peter Schultz. It also, the TSP also has a much longer list of what we're calling unfunded potential. What this does is it gives a really strong menu of options that OmniRide staff has put a lot of effort into thinking about what could be that buildup as we introduce service, as service is successful, if other funding grant opportunities are to come online, and what could be on the table for the next 2 fiscal years, 2028-29. There's over 50 projects in there that could be advanced, anything from new express routes. That could be, again, potential funding sources funded by community choice or outside Beltway, new or change or enhancements to some of the local service, including fixed route and so we encourage you to look at those projects, and those can be things that are on the future, but not yet part of that fiscally constrained. As part of that, the update also includes the operation and capital needs. So this is kind of just a breakdown at a high level of the funding sources that goes into this. So the local service, those are those weekday improvements and Saturday service. That's the common, it's funded by the common match of combination of federal, state, and local match. The express improvements, that's the commuter route from Gainesville to Noma. It's assumed to be choice funded, and then replacement vehicles and other capital. It's also standard match, standard combination. State. And then so the next steps really, again, we're looking for approval today. We would be updating, making sure that the document is final, submitting that to DRPT, hopefully this month. You all will be in the process of finalizing FY27 budget, so making sure that it's in there, it is in line with what's in fiscally constrained sections for that chapter. There are some service changes that would be going in place July 1, pending those approval. And then really, making sure that we're looking at how those are operating and starting to plan for what the full refresh of the full TSP might be, which that would look at the next 10-year horizon. So kind of an exciting thing to look ahead to and start thinking about what the opportunities for the future. So happy to answer any questions about the update or.
I wanted.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure I understood it correctly, because before it said that the update was FY 27 through 29, and to me, those were only 3 years, and I thought, well, whoa, that's a short-term plan. But actually, when you go into the document, it's from 2020 to 2029. That is the strategic plan we're talking about. The updates is for the 3 final years, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
The trend strategic plan that was completed in 2020, that was for that 10-year horizon. And now, yes, this update just covers 27, 20.
Yeah, that's just a comment. My question is actually related to the unfunded projects. And so any of those projects are actually needed. And because you stated that unless more funding is appropriated or found somewhere, that you are planning on doing those projects. But what if there's anything in those projects that are needed? How will we planning on taking care of those if they're actually really needed?
Oh, no. Well, that was a part of our, no, it's the county and our budget
Yikes.
process. Yeah, there was a lot of that, we could have definitely done. Go back to the normal next year. Really hoping that the budget we can actually be.
But that's actually related, I was supposed to talk about that, I appreciate the question.
Great leading.
Yeah, great. Since you mentioned it, well, I mean, right, I mean, that's a great question, because I appreciate you all doing this, and I appreciate having this sort of out year tweak to the TSP, because like you said, a lot of things have happened since 2020, and some things are vastly different. But it also then creates a foundation to then do the next TSP, like you mentioned, which brings us to the $1 million question. The only way, well, let me start by saying, yes, the state will hopefully get involved next year.
It's not that.
No, I know Delegate Thomas in particular has been a very strong advocate and champion, so I'm actually not directing this at him. There's just a lot of folks who talked a lot about trying to get more funding done for local localities and local transit systems through, DMV moves and SJ 28, and that didn't happen this year. Now, I would just say I've warned a lot of people in the last 3 years that would probably happen, but here we are. So hopefully we will get some support from the state next year, but even if we do or we don't, we need to have a conversation as a commission about that on-ramp. And yes, the lion's share of that will likely come from Prince William County, because we are the 1,000-pound gorilla when it comes to funding. But if y'all have needs, if Fredericksburg have needs in terms of that local piece of it too, we need to have a conversation about what that looks like. And it's something that I've been wanting to talk about, because whenever it's transit or anything else, we don't have to fund everything all in one budget year. We can decide what those priority items are that we want to get funded in a budget year. And each year we move farther and farther down that priority list, which is, I think, the point of your question, though, what are those need to have versus nice to have? And with the current climate, right, pun intended, we should be looking at those routes that have consistently overcrowded buses, people waiting in, inclement weather, things like that, because we just don't have the capacity right now. So that's a good place to start, but I would imagine TSP sort of speaks to what those priorities should be based on that. Right. And then so from there, and this leads me to my actual question is, if we, which I hope we do adopt this today, if I could request that we then bring that to the Finance and Budget Committee on the Board of Supervisors in Prince William County, so we can start having that conversation now. And so we can start making sure that everyone's on the same page on where we should go. So then it's not at the very end of the budget cycle, trying to, again, scrape for pennies to fund Omni Ride, let alone expand services. It's a much more smoother conversation with, this is where we've established our priorities in consultation and collaboration with Dr. Schneider and our colleagues throughout the region on, this is where we want to go.
Yeah, and I agree, and one of the reasons I've established this TSP process is because agencies have been coming in and saying, you know, hey, this is our list of product we want. So hold on, let's take a step back, let's look at what's actually needed. So one of the initial chapters is really doing a lot of deep dive data analysis and conversations with riders, stakeholders, so it really, it presents that case, here are the needs and then the projects. So, like you said, it's a great tool to say, here, we looked at the needs, we have a menu of potential projects that we would love to advance, we wanna increase frequency, we wanna increase service. And how can we build supported consensus for advancement.
So I will say, I'll make it that formal request now, that should we adopt it as a commission tonight, we did make a formal request to you all to have you come for the finance and budget committee. For the supervisors. Yes.
I think it was sometimes I don't make comments because it costs money. But my ask is, you know, when I think of this, it's more like the CPI and things that we move 5 years. So I was wondering about the priorities, whether they have been rated or is it. And I know sometimes like 2 or 3 are the top rate, because there are way, because sometimes, you know, there is possibility of maybe adjusting or making this or extra money, and if that happens, you know, are we ready to make those priorities based on the locality, making sure that everybody's talking that it happens.
Yeah, it's a great question. So there's not a distinct priority ranking of all those projects, but what I will say is that the first bullet there that speaks to it. Omnirod staff had come up with this prior to us coming up forward, but I really like it of just kind of this natural progression of service. You were introduced, if you're gonna test out something, you're starting maybe with a micro transit, building it up, it's successful, you're starting to increase service, you know, and you can get fixed route and really. So that kind of prioritization of progress, I would say that is kind of the strategy through that. Whether it's, you know, project in area X versus area Y, that level wasn't identified intentionally, but looking at that kind of how to, depending on where services and specific geography, where do you start off?
Chairman, I do want to refresh the commission that when Phil did the budget presentation, I know it's been quite a while. We've developed a package of service enhancement options and we presented that at the county. But what we break it down is we have prioritized ranked. I'm looking at it right now, OmniRide Connect enhancements by route, price tag. For each individual one, it's an a la carte menu. Then we have the OmniRide local express route enhancements, weekday schedule enhancements, and then the express route enhancements. Each one with its own map, it's costing, it's all data driven. We're not drawing, you know, we're identifying where's the development. So things we're paying attention to, for example, in Nokesville, all the new housing that got approved in the Nokesville area on the far end of 28. We bake that into our planning document, knowing there's no shoveling. But once that gets approved, we need to start including that information. So we now have that built into future budget line items, if there's delays. But a great example of this is we knew 3 years ago they were going to be building housing in the Innovation District. There are people now living in the Innovation District and we still don't have service. We did a groundbreaking for the Nexus 2, 3, 4. I think many people in this room were there. You're standing at 2 silos directly across the street of George Mason. I can't get you there. So that's an example of what, you know, the limitations of, we know you have a massive entertainment complex built across the street from Northern Virginia's university. And we can't get people from point A to point B. And that's our limitation. So we have a lot of opportunity to grow. Thank the Kim and Warren team for helping us through some of those steps, and we've helped them through a few of the steps. We've become a much better planning organization 10 years later, where we were really needing Kinley Horn 10 years ago. Now Kinley Horn comes in and supports and augments us as opposed to dragging us through a process.
Great question.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
How did the budget, refresh my memory, Dr. Schneider, the budget, is it pro rata where if Prince William uses 90% of the ridership slots, that it's pretty much 90% of the budget? Is that?
In the western routes, yes. We're doing our survey this year. Historically, the survey moved, we spent more money on the survey
than we did that moved the numbers. So we stopped doing the survey in 2018-19, and then we were gonna start at 2020, and I think all the pandemic hit. So now that we've reshuffled the deck, we retooled services, we're gonna be doing our survey on a biannual basis to do that. But once again, the vast majority of expenses are tied in with Prince William County, Manassas Park, much smaller amounts for the local Western services.
So the reason I asked is you said menu earlier, and I thought it was a really good metaphor, because if we are ordering from the menu, and if one locality is about to bring this before their committee, should the price tag that you're, I guess my question is, how does it affect the pro rata distribution for, because some of those may only affect Prince William, maybe Manassas. And if that's the case, then Stafford probably shouldn't need to.
No.
Yeah.
Stafford doesn't fund it, neither Stafford's thoughts figure for local services. So
Or any of the, take your five, preface, you know.
So in the example of improved express routes, we're focusing on, for example, if we've got the state revenue, we're already. This is really about funded by the local. And so fund really, and Prince William County is the only funder for express routes. Manassas Park have never and do not fund any of the express routes. So, but when it comes to like enhancements for local, what we bring forward, we understand that's part of the package, and we're communicating with Manassas Park about what those implications are, and they have flexibility and they're aware. So for example, if we're going to increase frequency on Route 65, which 2 of the 3 jurors, they all pay but at different amounts. All that's within the available budget to do that, and that's part of what we're bringing enhancements. We share that information with the local jurisdiction, so there's no surprises. That way, in case Prince William County says yes, let's go, it's not a run to Manassas Park and say, oh, it happened. Now we got to get money. On the opposite, they're prepared and we're ready and able if Prince William County were to make that decision. I hope that's clear.
Yeah. Oh, so do we have an action item? We need.
Yeah, we
have. Right. That's okay. Well, I mean, thank you for the update presentation there, and we're gonna get right into the action item. So you're rolling here, so we have 3 action items, we're gonna roll them all into one motion, okay, and one just describing, okay.
Yeah, so you heard the presentation for the strategic plan. What I did want to mention, call it out, is we're going to public hearing on the proposed new commuter metro express routes. This does not bind you to actually doing it. This is where we go to the public comment process, bring that back to formal adoption. The 3 in particular, bear with me just a second. But one of the, so I mentioned we have the new route to Noma, that'll be our Route 614 from the University commuter lot, Northeast DC. One of the other new routes we're going to be adding is out of the University commuter lot, but what it's doing is it's creating a new route that splits our current service because it's overloaded. And right now it goes to the Pentagon, then to LaFont, then on to Navy Yard, etc. What this will do is it'll split the Pentagon portion, and it'll have service Pentagon back and forth, which allows us to have higher frequencies, more service. And then what we'll be able to do is split off the ridership to LaFont and Navy Yard, because the demand for that is increasing so much on the I-66 corridor. Which we could do more on the I-95 corridor, but again, those routes are locally funded. So that's something we continue to talk to our friends at PRTC about, because it ends up being a disincentive. There's other jurisdictions continue to see their service grow and opportunities grow, but Prince William County it's been hamstrung on that. We're also looking at proposing a new Ballsport commuter lot to be in a metro rail station. Right now, we operate Route 60, which goes from the Ballsport lot 66 on the express lanes to Tyson's and back. That's great for the Tyson's corridor, Silver Line access to Reston, but a lot of passengers talk about wanting to access the Orange Line faster. So this will help feed Metro, so it's back and forth, straight from the Ballsport lot, roughly about 20 miles, one-way shot, operates directly in the morning only, peak service only, until it builds, and then we can look to start adding more trips. But that will be our second Metro Express route on the I-66 corridor. I-66 is not quite overtaking I-95, but it's coming up strong. And so it continues to be what, especially with the bi-directional toll lanes, we're able to deliver a lot more service at a lower cost and high reliability. That's what makes the difference by having those bi-directional toll lanes. So that's item 12.2, and then item 12.3, which the entire maintenance department is waiting on bated breath, is the purchase of a new replacement bus walk right here at the Woodbridge facility. And so those things last about 20-25 years. It's time for a new one, because I think we're still keeping the original one alive, or maybe not long. So the facilities department is really excited about that. So those are the 3 items, Mr. Chair.
So move 12.1, 12.2, 20,
Second. Who do I give that second to? We got no sure with the motions. There we go. All right, yes. So we've got a motion, been properly second, all in favor? No discussion, okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Perfect. Now, let's talk about, we're gonna from here. Bring that to the.
Mr. Perella already probably take this thing there.
Yes.
Okay, yes, that's, yeah, Aaron, there we go, okay.
Right here.
There we go. I just heard a little rattle over there, I'm like, oh. All right, so that brings us to chairman's time. So I will simply say, Commissioner Shelley, if you're a commissioner, now Commissioner 5, Commissioner LaCroix, welcome. This is awesome to have you all here on apart, and to have you staying is really cool. So I love that you're alternating these both to stay for the entire meeting. So thank you for being there. You've heard about the BTA conference 19 and 20. So if you're not a part of that, I'd ask it's in Fredericksburg, both. Like that's just the coolest thing because it's right down the road. I can't say no because you have a board meeting on Tuesday. You think, but I'll be there on the 20th. Yeah, and the 20th, so the 20th and the 21st, they go, we're having our Region 8 conference here, which would be another good thing. I'm new actually gonna play a huge role in that, so I think it'd be cool for you all if you can make it out there. What I will do is make sure Christine has all the information for that. She already got BT, I'll send that to her so she can send it out to you. 2 last points. I want to thank the team, staff, again, because you guys make all this magic happen. So thank you guys, every last one of you for being here for this. I want to give a spotlight to Christine Rodrigo here because she sends out all these emails and things that we're doing. And particularly, I want to talk about our bus shelter ribbon cutting that we've been going through. If you can make it, and I know we all have very busy schedules, she sends those out. So if you see her emails, please take a moment to look, and if you can make it to these events, please come out. She is very on time, on point, sending out all the stuff that we do. I absolutely love because she even keeps me straight on a lot of things. I feel like I have like 4 different staff teams that I have to work with on things, and she's really good. So I'm just asking that when she sends those, if you could show up from some of these events, they're very cool. I will tell you that right now. And so that's my plug and my Christine spotlight. Now, I'm gonna actually start with our online. Commissioner Frazier, we're gonna give you the floor if you have any comments or anything you wanna talk about.
Thank you, Chair Angry. Just want to thank the commission for being understanding. Also, happy Mother's Day to all of our mother commissioners. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Well, we're gonna start, you might be sitting over there, but I'm gonna start with you. Are you good? Okay. All right, we're good?
I walked it off this a little bit.
I, along with Commissioner Vasquez Luna and you, like I think we all enjoyed the ribbon cutting at Northern Virginia Community College. And that was the first one I've been able to make because sometimes, getting up 95 during the day is really hard. But it was really nice to be there and to see the bus shelters. They're very cool. Students designed them, and if you haven't seen it, on the emails, take a look, it's really cool. And happy Mother's Day, and happy almost end of budget season.
Yeah, one more to go. And I will plug, Dr. and the team for that Nova bus shelter project because they did all of that. We just popped up and it was cool to see the university or the college working with OmniRide and they had this whole package going in the kids. The one young lady who did the other gentleman wasn't there, but the one young lady wasn't. They'll design, if you're by there, any bus shelter you see, just stop and take a picture and look and just realize what our youth is doing or whatever, whoever we're partnering with to do these shelters. And it's a really big deal. So
30 seconds.
yes, sir. Because I was supposed, I already have a ten for stuff.
What we did is, Richmond Hill, who's the provost for the campus, got to know him through leadership. Prince William, we were riding the bus together. And he said, hey, can we improve the shelter condition, et cetera, et cetera. I said, better idea. What if your graphic design department worked with our marketing department and develop artwork? Because a lot of the students, they are designing graphics, but they don't understand material, dimensions, supply, weather conditions, sight lines, all those kinds of things. So our marketing department, specifically marketing, Charles Kent and Miranda Helen, who works in our facilities department, met with the students and went out and they just did a class art project that we then converted into the graphics and materials for that ribbon cutting. For the ribbon cutting, we brought the students and their families and administration and their professor and our staff, and we just had a really good time. It was a beautiful afternoon. We had a great time celebrating the artwork. So if you see those shelters anywhere in the Prince William community and you see art in them, those were done by a local artist. And so it's a fantastic opportunity.
Thank you. I knew about the program from the artist from last year's VACO. They were, so I have one thousand I gave back to you. Because he gave it to me. Was that you that gave that to me? Yeah, that's what I did. Thank you for that. So, because I was planning on trying to bring something to staff the bus shelter right there at the county. So I'm still thinking about that one. I just wanted to thank every single one of you all, the PRTC as well as the PRE staff. Just the longevity of some of the folks that I'm hearing, 15 years, 20 years. So a testament to the work that you've done, Dr. Schneider, holding on to these individuals and your leadership. So I appreciate that. And transportation, regional transportation is everybody included, all of us. We just reap the benefit and cut ribbons here and there, but the work is you all. So the mentorship, very, very important. And the fact that you all serve not only us, but the community. So thank you again, and happy Mother's Day to all of you all. I have 4 kids. Yeah, let me see if they gonna bring me this year.
Happy about your age. Like when I see that, I was like, I got this great leadership and the fact that they are all happy, they're willing to do it and everyone's learning, and that's what it's about. I'm definitely gonna get that book, beginning with Lee, because I can learn something from it. I think all leaders can learn something. And so I appreciate you sharing that with me. With that, thank you and anything here.
Mr. Stewart, would you like me to play your theme song? Yes.
No, Dr. Schneider, thank you for the continued work, especially like in Gainesville with the work happening at the university. I'm out at that bus stop once or twice a week, usually in the morning. And I mean, the reviews from just riders and even the drivers that come through, because I've gotten friendly with a couple of those folks. You know, they're very engaged and very they have a lot of job satisfaction. All right. And we're kind of in the boonies as far as kind of like service is concerned. So we're highly dependent on it. And so for a lot of the people, especially in that area that work in what I call the alphabet soup, it's a very well received, very well loved line. And thank you for the work. Thanks for the leadership around the accident. at the Pentagon. And yeah, happy Mother's Day to all the ladies, parents, all the, in the house. But Father's Day is coming, yeah, that's when I play the theme song.
Thank you. I just wanna let everybody know I'm on large size, especially on the orange color. Didn't know. I do it for business.
There's some shirts that are gonna that way.
Well, I'm happy Mother's Day to everybody here and also those watching online. I hope you get great flowers and I hope you don't get domestic flowers for the kitchen. They might be. I think one day, I'm part of the PRA, so very proud to hear the CEO doing very forward and also to see the staff to stay for the whole time. As you know, I see us as one transportation service, even though we're different, but also we are one serving our communities. It's congratulations to the, what was the BA? Did I say that? Yeah, and the MA graduated, inspiring, and I hope you will carry and learn a lot on safety and stuff, and make sure that I'll carry over to other places. I want to say thank you to Miss Allison Foster Regardless for meeting with me at the Harris Pavilion. I'm inviting everybody, the 2026 Summers Down events are coming up, but concerts are coming up with the Harris Pavilion and special services. They won't be late and to get right to come visit Manassas or come Manassas. As a BRE person, we can remiss to say, don't forget, you can bike work from 8:15, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. If you can bike all the way to work, at least come to one of the stops and enjoy and have fun. And last but not least, I believe a lot, I continue to find people that don't know there's the local services and also microtransit is free and free of charge. And as the special lines of the special rides are gonna be free as well. It is a great application that I remind people. Manassas Park, Manassas City, Yorkshire, parts of Manassas City, Yorkshire, they can do the free microtransit rides and the Quantico, Dumfries and Stratford. To me, it's important that we can continue to bring that up, whether they're watching online or they watch later, to make sure that people watch it works.
That's right, a lot of people, I don't know, it's gonna happen.
Right, I just want to congratulate all the participants before we take the light. And of course, to Dr. Bob for even having the idea. I think it's remarkable to have that many organizations should model it. So I congratulate you all on that. And I did hear you say you had 100% participation in all things. That's a big deal. Anytime you have a new program, well, I guess it's not new, but clearly, if you didn't get 100%, it's still wrong. Happy Mother's Day to all. This weekend, I hope you all can enjoy your families and everything. And then finally, just happy to be here and continuing to serve on this great team.
Oh, that's back to me. Sure. Well, with all of that, 5 till 9, I'll give you 5 minutes back.
Move to adjourn.
Second. There we go. We are. Oh, thank you so much, okay? Okay. Okay, you're talking about this today.
In the my city. We're breaking.
One.